Tyler, the maturing of an industry doesn't come without ripping off some Band-Aids from time to time. Whenever I got in, I heard a lot of stories about gentlemen's agreements that have been breached, gentlemen's agreements that are still intact, assumptions that are made, and assumptions that still carry today. And then I got introduced to this whole other part that's, hey, buddy, that's just business. Get over yourself. That's just business. There is an undertone from time to time in this industry, and we try to really keep it away from the podcast. And I believe that what goes in comes out. So if you speak positive things into your mind, positive things come out, right? If you constantly speak negative, that negative is going to come out. I'm not saying that I'm never negative. I'm saying I try to, navigate the better of the two roads and try to stay positive. And we've done that on the podcast. There are some negative aspects like those things that I've been introduced to. You guys have probably experienced them in your own right, but without getting into the depths of them, because they're not, speaking on those things they're just, I'm going to tell you when I first got in the industry, one of my favorite people, and he still is to this day, his name's Curtis Creason, and he is the procurement manager, at least I assume he still is, for Graceland Portable Buildings. And he was my boss whenever I was in purchasing. And he is just an awesome dude. I don't mind saying that publicly. He is just an awesome guy. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. But in terms of his late wife, he said we'd be going through the drive-through and I'd be getting all out of whack, all in a fuss. And she would look at me and say, does that hold any eternal value? And this has been, almost 10 years later. And he said it almost shut me down in my tracks. Does this hold any eternal value for you to be so upset at this fast food worker because they don't have your order right or whatever he was, complaining about. And he said it just had a way of creating that paradigm shift and, socking me right in the face and saying, hey, slow down. So a lot of these things, Tyler, they're not, they don't have any eternal value, but still yet, while we're here, how do we deal with them? Like, what's a better way to overcome them and doing it the right way, in a way that shows Christ?
I had a scripture on my mind. I think probably is fitting on a podcast like this. I suppose most of our listeners, your listeners, are people that are people of faith, as I understand it. And it's in 1 Corinthians 13. We call it the charity chapter. I'm sure a lot of folks are familiar with it, probably memorized parts of it when you were a child if you grew up around church. But just a little portion of it in the list of all the things that charity does and doesn't do. It said that charity, and one thing it said it didn't do, is seeketh not her own. And I've thought about that a lot. And in respect to this particular discussion where we got manufacturing and sales and delivery, and, really anybody who is just out for themselves, all they're actually doing is destroying themselves. You've never met anybody that you knew was all out for themselves that was very successful at all. That's not the way to be successful. I know a guy that has tried I've known him for 37 years. That's how old I am. And he has tried to impress people all his life. Best I can tell, all my life he has. And I don't know one person that's impressed by him. He's out just to seek to pick himself, and nobody thinks he's exalted. And whether it be an entire organization or whether it be one branch of this, we're talking about three specific components of the overall industry. But anybody that just looks out for themselves, they're not going to find a lot of success, and they're not going to be a happy person. In the end, their business will fail. And I guess to your question, my my take on it is I'm just going to keep doing the best I can to manufacture the best storage building and treat customers the way I want to treat them. And I'll be fine. You know, I've had bad months, Travis. You talk about having bad months. Everybody's going to. You know, we have bad months here. We have bad weeks, bad days. And there are times that if you let me say it like this, the jerk down the road that's just thinking about himself, he beats me sometimes. But he's not going to beat me over a 10-year period. He may beat me this week.
Yep.
But he's not going to beat me in the long run, because I'm going to be doing with the best of my ability, a Christ-like spirit. I'm going to be just trying to treat people right and do the right thing and apologize when I mess up. And I mean, I'm not telling you, you can see my office. I don't have gold and stuff behind me. I'm not like swimming in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck, but I'm a successful person in the sense that I'm extraordinarily happy with my work. I'm happy with my coworkers. I'm making a comfortable living. And to me, getting out of sorts because the jerk down the street is successful, that's not going to help your day at all. You can't even control that. And so just keep doing what's right. Have charity in your heart, because true charity doesn't just look out for itself. It cares about the others around you.
Introducing the Real Steel Portable Barn Door Press. You can use it to assemble your doors using truss connector plates to create strong, straight doors. The truss plates are kept in place by using our precision spring plate system, the same system as used on our truss press. Standard size truss plates are 2x4. Other options are available. Air cylinders are used to push the door together before the hydraulic cylinders push the plates into the door. This makes it easy to place your pieces of wood into the machine and assure a nice square door. 2 pins on either side of each of the vertical braces allow an easy and precise fit every time. There are 2 sets of 3 press stations on 1 rail. This allows for 3 stations to move in and out while remaining perfectly in line with each other. The stations also slide back and forth on each rail for different lengths of doors. You can make door widths ranging in size from 33 inches to 48 inches with a maximum length door of 76 inches. We can accommodate nearly all of your needs when it comes to different sizes. The hydraulic power unit has a 10-gallon steel hydraulic fluid tank with a 3,000 PSI 2-stage pump. The 2-stage hydraulic pump makes for a 4 to 5 second cycle time. An in-tank filter and a return line filter helps keep your hydraulic fluid clean and long-lasting. The electronic control panel allows you to operate all the air and hydraulic controls from a safe distance. A 2-handed safety system is used to provide a safe, efficient operating method. The unit is powered by a 3-phase 7.5 horsepower motor, complete with controls. A single-phase motor is optional as well. Contact us at realsteel.com or call Darren at 570-713-0665. Real Steel, production machines for the wood industries. I just want to point out that we've had a first on the show, and that might be the first time Scrooge McDuck has actually ever been brought to the attention of the audience. And for those of you who don't know DuckTales, let me just tell you, that's a pretty awesome cartoon whenever I was a young boy. So I always like Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Launchpad. Are you kidding me? I love it that you mentioned Scrooge McDuck. That makes my day. Yeah, I echo your sentiments there. I mean, basically, I've kind of learned to control, tried my best anyway, to learn to control just what you can do, what you can handle. And it's so easy to get caught up in what the others are doing or can do or whatever. And it's like you said, you get beat sometime. Guess what? We can't serve everybody all the time anyway. God made us all to be the hands and the legs and the body to get out here and do things. So, to be able to celebrate your brother's success, that's going to kind of bring me to my next question. Whenever we talk about that, where'd it go? When we talk about competition like that, the self-storage locations sell storage space. We sell storage space. They are 5 times our space in this market. They're selling 5 times more space than we are because we're selling storage. And how can we do a better job united to occupy more market share from that space rather than from each other? Does this give even the bigger businesses, so the bigger box stores within our industry, do they not have an advantage to even capitalize on that more? I'm curious you guys' thoughts on seeing the self-storage as quote unquote competition versus each other.
Well, whenever I see a new self storage unit go in, I'm like, yeah, man, we're still good, man. People still need storage. We're still in the right business, you know. but
Right.
but look, I'll be honest. I mean, I am a little bit jealous of that model. I mean, when you look at when you look at what we do, and you look at the overall U.S. market, I mean, first and foremost, we already have less customers than a self storage unit business does because we can't sell to people in apartments. We can't sell to people in condos and downtown high rises, and they can sell to anybody. They can sell to people that have apartments, that have condos, that live in a high rise, and the guys out in the subdivision, and the guys out in the country. So the whole country is their market. Our market's already, I don't know if it's cut in half or what the numbers are, but we're already starting off with a smaller market. So, but no, I mean, we have marketing strategies in place where we put out marketing content to try to stimulate the thought process of someone who is currently spending $150 a month at a storage unit that does own a home and has a piece of land that we could provide a storage solution for right in their backyard to where they don't have to run across town to get to their storage unit, and they can have it right in their backyard and own it. So we certainly compete with that and try to present a different offer, a different option to that consumer. But the hard facts are the portable building industry is just never going to be as big as the storage facility industry because we have less customers.
I'm just going to throw out Better Barns is an extraordinarily strange animal in the shed industry. We also offer self-storage, and so we have tapped that market as well.
Very nice.
So yeah, I get Shannon's question about the competition with it, but we just decided that, as Travis alluded to, there's quite a few customers even in our little local communities that can't have a storage building. They, like you said, they live in an apartment or they rent a house and their landlord won't let them have a storage building, all kinds of situations. And so we've just adapted and tried to meet the needs of some other customers too. But I can certainly see your question, Shannon, and I think Travis's point is well taken. I don't think we'll ever, just simply the customer base is not nearly as large. Pool's smaller.
Travis, you got thoughts on self-storage? I'd imagine you guys see a lot of competition in that area. What do you think? Do you see it as competition? I like Tyler's thoughts on it. Hey, if you can't beat them, join them. So if nothing else, capture both sides of the market. But curious your thoughts on it as well.
I would have a hard time viewing them as competition because, we're just in the business of transporting stuff from, point A to point B, really.
Yeah, it's a little tough from the unique perspective the hauler seems to have is, you're making things happen logistically. You're moving that space from one place to the next. So, a couple of things that come to mind for me on that is, the use, the ease of use is one thing I used to try to sell on. And I do know there's a couple of guys that have storage units that actually end up putting some sheds out front because they don't want to lose those customers. And, the ease of use, not everybody wants to run down to the storage unit to grab something at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Even if it considered it is open, they might not want to do that, but they do enjoy the building being right there in their backyard. It certainly makes things a whole lot easier. So I used to always sell on that premise, but most guys would tell you it's not common for people to know a lot of times that you can get a storage shed brought to your house so easily. Travis,
yeah.
I mean, surely, how many stares do you get whenever you break out a mule in a trailer and dump that thing right into place that they never thought would have been possible?
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to put it into words.
Say unfiltered. Just say it.
When there's a lot of customers that, even though the dealer educates them to the best of their ability, when we show up, even though we've got really impressive equipment, they're still ill prepared for the delivery.
Mm.
And that might be a little different angle than what you're thinking, but
No, I mean, I know that. I experienced that from my own perspective. There was a lot of times I just didn't know what the driver could or couldn't do. And I'll tell you, as a salesperson, Travis, the temptation, man, the temptation to get that sale is to believe that they can do anything.
Yep.
You know, you're trying to pay lot rent.
Well,
You're trying to make ends meet. And the temptation to be able to say, yeah, I'm pretty sure they can do that, is a lot easier, and hope that it can happen than the reality of the situation. Like you guys discussed, sending that customer away. How do you overcome that? You know, running a successful shed business is hard work, but what if making it easy for your customer to work with you could be the key to unlocking even greater success? That's the goal of Leadferno, to make your business easy to work with by bringing text messaging into the lead and the sales process. Consumers can text with your business right from your website from any device. You and your team can work smarter with auto replies, saved reply templates, scheduled messages, and more. Be easier to work with, communicate faster, and close more leads with Leadferno. Watch a demo and start your 14-day free trial and save 33% off your first month. To take advantage of this offer, simply go to geek.com/Leadferno. It's time to turn website traffic into leads with text messaging.
There's that. And then there's also just if you've been selling sheds for a while, there's just the familiarity of it. And you've lost the awe and the amazement of what the mule can do and what a $100,000 Pine Hill trailer can do, or a Myers trailer, or any of these amazing manufacturers that are making these cool trailers. It's like, you just don't see that every day. But you kind of lose the awe of it because you're just around it. And so sometimes you forget to transfer that to the customer, and the customer's not really aware of what's happening until that shed shows up and this equipment shows up. And then they're like, oh, well, we need to move the truck. Man, we need to move these trash cans. We need to get this old camper out of the way, you know? And so I think, talking for myself, we kind of lose that, and I'm literally, as I'm talking, I'm like, man, we need to do a better job of that here at Farming Yard, just to pass on that awe and that coolness of how the shed gets delivered and how talented the transportation team is in this industry.
Absolutely.
what you were saying on how to prevent the salespeople from doing that is, I don't know that there's a good way to prevent that. I mean, I just left when I was just in a meeting from about 5 or 6 hours today, that this subject was brought up, is how one of the things is the dealer needs to be educated enough that they can make a decision or have a good enough relationship with their driver that they can say, get photos and measurements for that driver and let the driver make the decision, and then it kind of transfers the blame. At that point, it would transfer the blame, per se, from the sales guy to the driver if he gets there and he ultimately cannot deliver it.
There's also the other side of it where, as a salesperson, if you ask the customer, hey, do you have access to get a 10-foot wide building into your backyard? We're going to need about, at least 12 to 13 feet of space to get that in. And the customer goes, "Oh yeah, hey, no problem. We got plenty of room." What are you as the salesperson going to say? Well, are you sure? Should we come out and check? Salespeople aren't going to do that. And so sometimes that also creates a problem where it's like, hey, if the customer said they got plenty of room, maybe I'll just roll with that instead of causing friction in this sales process. But I'm sure there's better ways to do that.
And that's one of the things I do as a dispatcher. I feel like I need to do all of the homework that I possibly can before that driver ever shows up. And I'm looking on, Google Maps, Street View, and I just had a case this week that the customer told me that they had had other buildings in there in the past. And I was, well, it looks pretty tight, but okay. And at that point, I'm relying on the customer's understanding of what happens. Mm-hmm. And we get there, the driver tries to deliver it. It's an undeliverable site. Like, we could not, physically, the building would not go in where they wanted it. So at that point, we have a very upset customer. The driver's aggravated. It's 105 degrees outside, and he's sweated. And now he's back to zero, and he's still got to load the building up and get it back to the lot before he can call it a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we all mess up, and I've even me as being a former driver, I've looked at stuff and went, I don't know, but it might go. But I try to prepare the driver in advance. Hey, this one's going to be tight, I think. So sometimes the driver being in the right, and the driver having the right frame of mind before he ever shows up, I feel like can help the situation too.
100%. Just the communication through all the different chains, I feel like can really help everybody be set up for success, where the salesperson is doing as good of a job as they can. Maybe the manufacturer is sending out an email to the customer after the shed's built and saying, "Hey, your shed's built, and here's what to expect next. Do you have your trees trimmed? XYZ." And then the dispatcher calls, and the dispatcher goes through it again. Hey, do you have your trees trimmed? Do you have your leveling blocks there? Do you have X, Y, and Z done? To try to just make delivery day just a very happy day instead of a frustrating day.
Right. But this baffles me. I don't get this. I don't know how many customers I've asked, like say a rural customer that lives out on farmland or whatnot, and they have a gate at the end of their driveway. And I ask them how wide their gate is, and they think it's 16 foot. And I can look at it on Google Maps from my experience and go, I know that's not a 16 footer, but I can't tell the customer that. But what I tell them is, man, before I can schedule your delivery. So when you get the measurement, call me, and from there we will make a decision on a delivery day. And sometimes mm-hmm. they think they've got a 10-foot gate and they've got a 20. And then there's times they think they've got a 16-foot gate that's barely 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to say that customers are lying to us to get the job done. Some of them just don't even think about it.
That's right.
I mean, they'll tell us they get their 30-foot camper through it all the time, and that's cool. Your camper's 8 foot wide. We're 16 foot wide. 40, 50, 60 foot long. It's a little bit different than your camper.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the real life struggles, right, of sales and manufacturing and hauling. They really are.
I love customers, but they are notoriously unreliable.
The customers take the path of least resistance, right? Whatever is the easiest for me to sign. Sure. Do I need to sit and hear your whole sales pitch? Or, I was thinking earlier, Tyler, I was gonna ask, does having all this site preparation stuff on a website make sense? Well, it does, and it's there, but only to the people who go listen and care or look and and they're usually in such a rush that maybe as a standard from a sales perspective, Travis, maybe we haven't slowed people down to teach them the right process about site preparation, about rent to own, about delivery expectations, about product warranties, about all these things that go along with it, because we just accept that customer's there with a the same attitude that so many have in life now, that everything's in a hurry, and they're there not willing to sit down and listen. And maybe we just haven't set that expectation correctly, that hey, this is a big purchase, maybe outside of your house, maybe outside of your car. Look around on your property and tell me what has more care, what has more money, what has more thought that needs to be gone into. Because we're not just building sheds for shovels and rakes anymore. Like, we're building some really, really nice structures over the last 10, 20 years even, that you didn't see, 40, 50 years ago.
Hello, shed sellers. Let's take a moment to discuss the shed customer and meeting their expectations. I remember growing up in the neighborhood where a certain percentage of the houses had well-manicured lawns and well-manicured homes. These were the type of individuals who felt it was important to purchase a well-constructed home or vehicle, or maybe equipment, to help maintain the quality of the item. As shed manufacturers, we seek to provide a well-built quality shed. We want the customer to feel satisfied that their hard-earned money has been well spent on a product that will last. At LuxGuard, we believe adding high-quality rubber flooring to your line of sheds makes sense to the customer and adds value the customer can appreciate. With each year, sheds are becoming more complex. The customizations we are seeing are virtually endless. LuxGuard not only gives a complimentary aesthetic appearance for their shed, but also protects the floor from spills and keeps cleanup simple. Offer your customer the customer service they seek with LuxGuard. At LuxGuard, we are committed to delivering exceptional customer service and innovative products to help our customers achieve their goals. We strive to meet the evolving needs of the customers. To speak with one of our ready-to-serve customer product specialists, simply call 336-468-4311. To see our product and view an installation video, just visit our website at luxguard.com. LuxGuard, the floor that lasts a lifetime.
So it's really trying to get with the times and saying, hey, don't be so impulsive. And if you'll take the time to sit down here and just listen, I really think we can get you off of that path of least resistance and just, bring it in, make it work, whatever. We'll make it happen. That's a big problem once you've built a big old shed and paid a lot of money and had somebody escort it out there, and you've got somebody who's driving I don't even want to say $100,000 rig, because that's laughable anymore, right, Travis? And some guys' case, so.
I mean, I used to say $250,000, and I don't even know that. I mean, if you go buy all brand new, I don't even know that $250,000 would buy you a pickup and a 45-foot roller trailer and a Mule 6 anymore.
Yeah. A lot to think about.
So it's
business.
And then there's days it feels like we have the most liability out of the whole operation, because our costs are directly related to how much the wheels are spending. And we want everybody to succeed. I've often said that the whole industry, and Shannon, I might go off on one of my little things we talked about this week. The industry is a three-legged stool. We've got the sales, the transport, and the manufacturing. And if any of the three fail, it makes the other two look bad.
Oh, that'll preach.
And it also feels like some drivers will. I'll say this too, and you can edit this out if you want, Shannon.
All right.
It feels like some drivers want to complain about things, but yet they never go to the person that can fix the problem and want to sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And say, hey, here is where we're at. Because you might be surprised that they might be thinking they need to change too. But if you're demanding, or you're jumping up and down and screaming, they don't want to change. But if you sit down and talk to them or have a civil conversation with them, and they go, you know what, we know we've been needing to change, and you're able to present them with what you would like to see, they have an end goal that they know this is what you would like to see, even if you don't even think that, even if you think that what you want might be out of reach, you can still ask for it and tell them this is what you would like to see, and it gives them something to go, okay, we know this is what he would like to see. How close can we get to that? Because the manufacturers want those buildings delivered as bad as they want them sold too. And a lot of times they're willing to come to the table and talk with you.
Oh, you're preaching just right there, man. Like, yeah, we all of us need to hear that. Guys, I want to be mindful of your time. I know that we've got a hard stop coming up here at 5:30. I don't know. I'm somewhere in between. I'm an hour and 6 minutes, and I can either keep going for about 10 and maybe make this 2 episodes, or shut her down and edit out and try to keep it down under
Got about
1.
12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and ask Travis Beachy my question that I had, Shannon.
Go for it.
Let's go. Hang on a second. Let me get my guard up. Let me get my guard up. On you.
So I've been on your lot. I've seen it. It's a very nice, well put together lot. And this is not. I don't have my boxing gloves on. And there's no reason that I'm asking the question. I'm just curious. At what point? So say you sell sheds for whoever, and then you might sell a product for someone else, and this other product. Is there a point where the sheet manufacturer that is supplying sheds ever gets to the point or ever feels like that you are not taking care of them because you have other product on your lot? That you're also maybe biding your time when a customer comes in.
So you're talking about, a retailer here. Maybe they have, wood painted sheds from one manufacturer. Maybe they got metal sheds from another manufacturer. Multiple different shed manufacturers on their lot.
I think he might be kind of breaking up, but I think what he was kind of alluding to the other day when we were talking about it was all the different products. Should a manufacturer be concerned if there's multiple products? Because the one thing you are seeing is that the retail lots, it's kind of hard to know where the shed industry stops and other things begin nowadays. Tyler, kind of hearing, that you're doing self-storage. I didn't know that, and I think that's cool. I'm not, play sets and furniture and gazebos and chicken coops and ice cream cones, and we all just kind of get to a point to where you're trying to maximize your income, and that might even be. I wonder, Travis, and I can edit this out if you don't want this shared, but I think you do part of what you do is a wholesale model. But I'd imagine, especially with a retail model, that's a good question, or a consignment model. It's probably especially a question, and I'm not going to answer for you. I just kind of expect those guys are trying to make lot rent, especially if they're running on consignment sheds and they don't have a primary business or something like that kind of fuels. But what's your thoughts on it? I'd be curious.
Yeah, we have a mix of consignment and wholesale, so we have kind of a mixed bag here. And I think it just comes down to the individual and what their vision and goal is for their space. We look at ourselves differently than, I don't particularly care for the words just a dealer. We consider ourselves we consider ourselves a backyard retail shopping experience. So we consider ourselves a place where you can not only get a great shed, but you can also get a great chicken coop for some fresh eggs. You can also get a greenhouse to raise some of your vegetables and gardening. And hey, you can get a great little play set for the kids to play on and have so we're about creating experiences in the backyard. And, we've chosen to go beyond sheds. So, that's just how we've chosen to do our model. We try not to tack things on that just for the sake of tacking things on, so to speak. Like we're not just trying to tack things on to see if we can make a quick buck. So we're very strategic about what product lines we carry here. And we vet all of our manufacturers. So all of our manufacturers have to, first of all, meet a certain criteria to be, for us to represent them. And so we operate with a little bit of a different mindset, and then vice versa. We hope that we're a great partner for that manufacturer, that we represent them well. And so it's a vice versa thing. So we think about it a little bit differently. And even if you just sell, even if you are just on consignment with a larger manufacturer, I still don't like the word just a dealer. You're more than that. Even if you just have sheds on your lot, you're someone who's out there providing a solution for a problem in the backyard. You're doing more than being just a dealer. So we found, I love repeat business. It's the most cost effective way to get new business, and having multiple product lines allows you to. I mean, we've got clients that have spent over $100,000, have over $100,000 of our products in their backyard, and we didn't have to spend marketing and ad dollars to get that. We just gave them a great experience with their first purchase, and they saw what else we had, and they came back. Now, the argument against that is focus. I do believe in focus. I will say our shed numbers, just if you just look at our shed numbers have not grown exponentially over the years. They've kind of stayed the same with maybe a small percent increase. Now our overall sales are up, but so I do think that there is some value where someone who is just focused on sheds has the ability to really, we all know that getting getting a sandwich at Chick-fil-A is a better experience than getting a chicken sandwich at McDonald's. And so I do believe that there is value in focus. I also do believe that there's value in diversity. So I think that's what I love about this industry too. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think if you're someone who just wants to sell sheds, then go for it. Be the best you can be. If you're someone that likes some diversity and you want to offer more products, I think that's great too. I think both have their pitfalls and both have their pluses.
Hello, shed sellers. Did you get a chance to view the Real Work Labs interview featuring George Converse? If not, be sure to check out the episode, where you can see a condensed demo during the interview. Just go to the Shed Geek Podcast YouTube channel and type in Real Work Labs. George and the team at Real Work Labs have received an influx of interest and new signups, and they are already working to provide real results. Real Work Labs shapes the way customers find you online. We are a software company that helps shed sellers like you get found where the customers live, not where your shed lot is. Our mobile app in the field hooks into your website, so your work and Google reviews are getting found on the map on location. That way, you drive more revenue, higher conversion rates, and true word-of-mouth referrals online. It's time to put your reviews on the map and leave a digital yard sign at your job sites using Real Work Labs. For more information, just go to shedgeek.realworklabs.com or simply call or text 480-787-7575. Mention the Shed Geek Podcast for special pricing and get a 50% discount on setup today.
Speaking from the manufacturer side from our perspective to Travis Parks's question about the manufacturer's feeling about maybe Travis Beachy selling other products and how would that make a manufacturer of sheds feel. I can tell you, if we have a dealer, which we don't use the dealer model at all, both of our locations are corporate stores, but we have had dealers in the past. We had about 30 dealers in the past. And then quite frankly, I didn't care if they were selling Girl Scout cookies. If they were selling sheds, I was happy. And I don't care what else you do. Yep. But if you'll sell sheds for me, I'll be happy. And if they weren't selling sheds, we shut them down. So, that's from the manufacturer side. I guess that may be at least some input from that side.
I'll tell you what, guys, it's been good. We've gotten quite a bit through this. We didn't even probably cover half of what we had wrote down. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I certainly felt like if we can come back to the round table again and just kind of have a discussion, I feel like it provides value to everybody out there, across the board. It's you got a shed seller, a shed hauler, a shed manufacturer, all in one room. And while you guys come from different states, different territories, in theory, I guess you guys are all kind of close in that Midwest to Western, southern, southwestern range. That wasn't done on purpose, believe it or not. It's just the way it came together. But so many other things we wanted to talk about, books that you guys read that help. If you're, I always say, about one of my favorite podcasters says leaders are readers, and they talk about books they read. And I'd really like to create, a place where people can go to find resources like that, and just have those available. But I feel like this has been productive. It's been a really good start. It's been a good opportunity. It's the end of a week. I sure am hoping you guys have a safe and blessed weekend. Appreciate you guys even being willing to set in and do this. And if it works out, who knows, maybe we can make this happen again. We're going to have to try and figure out how to break this episode up, or we'll just have to see what happens. But I certainly appreciate you guys being here. Would one of you feel led to close in prayer? I will see us out of here then. If you guys don't care, believe in prayer, believe in the power of it, and certainly always want to make sure and keep God centered in this podcast and all that we do. So, Lord, thank you for the day. Thank you for these men. Thank you for the opportunity to just come together in fellowship in areas of collaboration and in areas of competitiveness, Lord, that we would be able to lay down those moments to remember that there's a higher purpose and a higher calling to what it is that we do and for which you've created us. Never let us forget that we are for each other and not against each other. And thank you for an opportunity for iron to sharpen iron through communication, through talking, and just being able to get together and be better men because we're trying to encourage each other to do so. Ask that you'd watch over each and every viewer and listener to the podcast. Ask for safe travel to and from all of the industry events, and that participation in those events can be made possible. Just ask that you'd bless everybody this weekend, and those who are listening to this episode, wherever they might be, that they would have found something that might have spoke to them that was more than sheds. And just really appreciate you for sending your son, Lord. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Travis Parks,
Amen.
I hope you didn't close your eyes while we was praying. I think you're driving.
That's right. I kept them open this time.
All right.
Shannon, for my part, man, we've got enough content here. If you want to do a part 2 at some point, try to cover some more of this stuff, I'm perfectly happy to do that. You want to get some other people on to talk about it, it won't hurt my feelings at all. If you need to, replace me with a different manufacturer, I'm just happy to be a part and help where I can.
Yeah, I agree. I'm down.
Appreciate that from both of you, and Travis Parks as well. I know you guys keep me encouraged with your text, with your messages, with your timely commentary whenever I need it. It's always much appreciated. I really think that content creation is the focus of the show, so I always want to be putting out good stuff. Travis Beachy, you might not know this, but this is the second time this week somebody's told me on the podcast that Chick-fil-A experience is better than a McDonald's experience. So I was kind of tickled whenever I heard that. I was like, man, these guys are like, they're lining up with everybody that I've got on here. So I feel like that means I'm in the right spot. Hey, in all seriousness, it means a lot that you guys would listen, but it means a lot that you'd participate. And anything I can do for you and try to help in return, or you just call that favor in any time. It means so much to me I don't know. This is what I was doing before I was even in the shed industry, man, trying to build connections and communication. I firmly believe that communication is the key to solving problems. And if we can communicate better, we can be a better people.
100%.
Totally.
Travis Parks, be careful, buddy. I know you got a long drive back to Oklahoma.
We'll get there eventually.